We talk about avoidance so much with all the people we work with.
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing that I have avoided since you've known me, which is paying for a better internet provider.
When are you gonna get like what does it take to get you to actually buy internet so that you can have a decent connection?
This is what it will take now, is that this
Good.
happened, that
Good.
I finally got up to an issue that I care about enough to get
Great.
my butt into gear. So this is what it will take. Is now I say that now, and now I'm actually accountable to doing it, which I've boxed myself into a corner of accountability. Unfortunately for me.
It's about damn time.
Yes, it is.
Why should people listen to you?
Because I tell the truth. I'm honest and I don't avoid the discomfort. And that's a big problem in a lot of this field is the discomfort is avoided. A lot of people who sit down with couples looking for help or individuals looking for help, whether you're a therapist, coach, the discomfort is what you avoid, not lean into.
How'd you get so good at that?
Well, I spent a lifetime avoiding my own discomfort and my life exploded. Or I exploded my life. And so I had a choice. Either I change or I keep exploding things. So the choice, like the decision was really clear. Either I lose everything and continue down this path of just leaving awake, or I change. And then I've been avoiding discomfort. And so it's like my options are to keep avoiding discomfort or not. It was really simple.
And then what? Because then you got into this,
Well,
sure, of course, you have your own personal story, but I watch you do amazing work with people and have watched that for a couple of years now. Like, why the work? How is it so easy to sit in the discomfort? Or maybe it's not easy. I don't know. I'm making an assumption on for you because I know my experience, but I'm curious about what it's like for you to sit in the discomfort with clients and why choose to do that. You sit in this, like I say this all the time, I sit in the swamp every day.
yeah. I will admit it wasn't easy to start. Like it was kind of those first few times it felt very uncomfortable, even though I had experienced it for myself. Doing it with another person is not I wouldn't describe it as easy. However, believing in what it produces made it much more doable. It's like I know what this produces. I know what this, or I guess I know what this can produce, which is like I actually believe like leaning into discomfort creates the opportunity for healing to actually take place. And now it's like the only thing I know how to do. It's like there isn't another option. It's like, no, discomfort is going to be where we're going to go today. And you may tell me in 100 different ways that we're not going there. And I can honor that at a certain point, but I'm not going to sit around with you and wait. When you're ready, you can come back and we can start that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I want you to have autonomy to choose when you choose to do that. I'm not going to sit around and wait for it because I don't want to waste your time and money. But when you're ready, you let me know. And now it is easier.
Yeah. I bet
and it's fun.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about your job?
My favorite part about my job, it's really humbling. And that's been something that I've experienced more so probably in the last year as I've gotten better at just listening to people. I think for a long time it was like, I know what's best and I know what to do. And now it's like, I gotta listen. That's important because what are they actually saying? And I think I love the ways in which it makes me a better father, a better husband, a better friend. Um, like I get something out of it that I wasn't necessarily looking for when I got into it. That part I really love. Um, I also love watching people change and celebrating that or helping them learn how to celebrate that. Like I want to celebrate with them. Sometimes more than is probably helpful too. Like sometimes it's like this is for them to celebrate and not me, but I kind of want to be a part of the party because I love a good party. But just like seeing change happen in front of you in real time is a really cool gift. Not a lot of people get to be privy to like know the whole journey that somebody has gone through and all the work that went into it. Like we work with a lot of people who've done some pretty egregious things and it hurt people in really egregious ways. That if you were to just look at the choices that they've made, you could point a finger at them and say, you are a terrible human being. And you wouldn't probably totally wrong in that judgment. And then to see them change and hold that here's all the things that I've done and I am changed or I'm changing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's freaking sweet. It's like, oh, this like you don't have to be defined by your past. You can hold it and own it and show up differently.
It's magic. It's magic. It's magic.
Yeah. What about you? Why do you do
Which part?
well, why do you do this work?
I have no freaking clue sometimes. Is the honest answer. I've told this story so many times because in different ways and it changes. And I originally got into this work. I wanted to either work in a prison or a school, which great. Like those are very different places. But I believed in the systems and I found myself, it's funny that I'm sitting in my childhood bedroom right now as we're recording this. And one of my favorite things to do was read books about serial killers because I loved learning like how the hell could someone do these things? I loved learning about like the fascinating with like the human mind and seeing things and seeing the humanity in people and just understanding people in general. So how I actually got into this work was just I went to grad school because it was 2009 and the housing market crashed and I couldn't find a job anywhere after my undergrad or 2008 I should say, but around that time. And getting into this work was just kind of trial and error, but the thing I was really good at was seeing people for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I have
That
a
was natural
strange
to you.
ability. What's that?
That was natural to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since the beginning, I've always been able to see people. So, despite my skill level, despite what theories I knew about this work, despite any of that, I was really good at just connecting with other people.
Mm.
And what happened through that is that I got really good at listening, really good at collecting stories, paying attention, and this weird ability that I have to remember things so that when things are inconsistent, I can remember and tell somebody, you told me that story a different way 6 months ago. And I got really good at being able to pay attention to those parts and I started trusting it more and more and more. And so my journey and like how I am good at sitting in the muck or in the hard part with people is that I see that people want to change. They don't want to do it the hard way. They want to do it the easy way. And I'm really good at making them do it the hard way. And I shouldn't say making it, that makes it seem bad, but I'm really good at assisting or helping people get to the hard way of doing the work because I see that path and that path is clunky and it's overwhelming, but the easy path is boring to me. And the easy
Yeah.
path takes way too much time, way too much of their resources and money. And I would rather take this other path, which means that I'm going to say hard things at times, but I also am always going to promote agency and connect or consent. I'll get that word right. Consent. Um, those are the two things that I hold on to, and watching people connect to that, it's like magic. And when you have people that come in that tell you that they are never going to change and this is always what it's going to be, and the only reason they're there is because someone else told them to be there, and at the end they're telling me all these other amazing things that they're getting out of it, that's incredible.
Hmm. I like that hard path, easy path. Um, what is so enjoyable about the hard path? Because you gotta, like, it's on some level you have to enjoy the path you're taking, and if it's
Mm.
hard, like, how do you find joy in the hard path?
There is a level of a flow state that happens that I have a hard time describing. And I think there's a lot of work that's been written about flow state, and I resonate with it so much that it's almost like when they're in that hard path, it's like everything else falls away and I can just see them working through this thing. And as they're working through this thing, or as I see people really diving into doing the work, they are their most raw, authentic self.
Hmm.
And being able to witness that and like be in that space, I think you mentioned that, like being able to see change happen. I feel so honored. And the fact that people trust me enough and feel safe enough to do that, that's amazing.
Hmm.
And that's where all of this shame work has come from, because I don't run from people's shame anymore. I did. Like, there are versions of me as a therapist that I am, if any of you are listening, I am so sorry. I was not a great therapist at various times in the early parts of my career because I didn't know, but I bet we had a good relationship. So just put that out there. Um, but like, I didn't know how to sit in the muck with people. I would save them from it because it looked painful. But now I don't save anybody from those things. Or when I do, I catch myself pretty quickly because I can tell what it feels like, because I can tell in my system what it feels like to save someone from shame, which I think we'll get to on another episode to talk about that and how our bodies tell us a lot about where we're at in the process. But being able to like sit in that space with people and really feel that, that's
Hmm.
that's incredible to be able to I say I sit in the muck all the time. I can sit in the heavy parts of it and watch the wheels turn and true healing happen. Because one of the things that I think about, the reason why this shame work and why I love this work, is that we don't have to go back into all of the history. I
Yes.
have to see you be uncomfortable in this moment and for you to do that work in this moment. And so real shame work happens in the present, not in the past and not in the future. It happens right here. And getting people to do that, you have to create a solid connection with that person to be able to do that work.
Yes. No, I'm getting all goosebumpy and excited now, and I will refrain from going down any rabbit holes to keep us in the line. I will commit to that, but
But I
um,
think where my authority comes from is that I've done a ton of work on trainings and learning, and I like have a ton of education, but the bottom line is that people feel like I'm a real person. They
yes,
meet me and they're like, you say some of the wildest things. My favorite thing that you'll hear me say all the time is like, that's a wild thing to say. That's a wild thing to do. I use myself in the room in a way that is really truly myself. And I would say the way that I can do this work now is that I truly know who Heather Heidi is. I
yeah,
tell everybody that I have a master's in marriage and family therapy, but really it should say I have a master's in Heather Heidi, which I've continued throughout my entire career. And for almost 15 years, I've continued to try to figure out who Heather Heidi is, which is part of why I never wanted to name my business after myself, but I am so proud of the name that we came up with for our new business of Hatch and Heidi, because it has a lot of stories attached to it that are very meaningful that um, I I want to talk about. I want to tell those stories. I want to let those come out.
and I love, like, I love the embracing of the authority, because it feels like a move, at least for me to a degree, a move out of seeking power, because power and authority are different.
Mhm.
I can't articulate that difference right now because I don't know if I would do it justice, nor is it fleshed out in my head. But like, when I think about like this idea of the work that we're doing with shame, this hard path, like the easy path, it's like easy to figure out how to seek power in a situation, and power can come in a lot of different ways. But authority is like an embracing of who I am,
Mhm.
where I am.
Yes.
It's an ability to stay in a moment and just be myself.
Mhm.
uh, because there is authority. It's not authority over. It's just like I have authority with me. Like I am an authority on Austin. I am an authority on how I show up.
Yes.
I'm an authority on how I am in relationship with, not over anybody, because that's power. You know, authority is just, it's like rich, real honesty. It's saying I don't know when I don't know, but also saying I have a thought that's different than yours when I have a thought that's different than yours. And it also says like that's a wild thing to say, which is admittedly my favorite thing that you say that I steal all the time. It's like that's wild, man. That's wild shit that just came out of your mouth.
Yes. And I also think that I don't know how I got here. I don't know where it came from, but one of the other things that I do that I feel really proud of that I do is that I don't have to be right.
Mhm.
I sometimes act like it, and there's like part of my ego that might sound like I think I need to be right. But honestly, at the end of the day, if I'm told I'm wrong about something, I want to understand that because I want to know what's up. I want to know what's different. I want to explore that. And I think that's part of that whole thing of like not like going to the unhealthy parts of my shame and the shame that I
Mhm.
carry is that I can sit in the healthy aspects of whether that's shame or just like I don't even know if that is shame, but I could go to shame and be like, no, I'm right, and like do some sort of like kind of expert kind of person and I got to do this and you just need to tell me I'm so great, and if I lean into the expert part of me then you're just going to tell me I'm right and I'm so smart and all these things. That's not what I want. That's not what I need. I'd rather have a relationship, and I'd rather you say, Heather, I think differently than you about that. Great, tell me about that. I tell my clients first session every single time, anytime I say something that's incorrect or doesn't match, tell me and I'll walk through it with you because I think it's important. Because I say some wild things too. They say some wild things, but boy, we were to record my sessions, well, I do record some of them like to for teaching purposes, but if I were to really show you that, it would be like, you said what? Like, that's a wild thing to say.
Yeah. They don't teach you that in grad school, do they?
I know I teach in grad schools and I try to teach them a little bit about the things, but like it's hard to really know what happens in the rooms. It's really hard to help people see what happens in a therapeutic space. But we're not just talking about how to do therapy. We're talking about how people learn about themselves in a deeper way. And I think the reason that we have authority to do that is that we've been doing it.
Well, and what I hear you saying is like we also need to be really mindful of the mirrors that we choose in our life. And for a lot of us, we've chosen mirrors on that easy path that just affirm what we want people to see and think about us. And really what you're describing is like we're going to be a mirror. What I also love that what you said is like I may not be right, but I'm not going to shy away from what I see, hear, and feel in the room because we get to be curious about it.
I'm not going to
Not right
shrink
or wrong.
myself, right? Like what you're saying at that, what you're talking about is if you hold up a mirror and you say, Heather, that's not right. If I shrink myself and be like, oh, you're right, I'm wrong, and oh my goodness, I'm like, oh, like that's
Yeah,
annoying.
it
Like, you
is.
don't want to hear that. You're telling me I'm incorrect because you want to connect with me and actually help me see something, or you want to be seen in that moment. And if I just like
Yeah.
shrink into myself, we're now out of relationship, we're out of connection, we're now in like me shrinking, and you actually have more power because I'm handing you power, but that's not what you asked for. If you did, I would know that as well because I could lean into that and I'd
Yes.
be like, oh, what are you doing? You want to one up me here?
Mhm.
Hmm.
So this unmasking shame that we are inviting others to go down is the uncomfortable path with a lot of mirrors that you've avoided in life or not chosen to stand in front of.
Yeah. We're going to tell people to stop avoiding the mirror, stop trying to hold the mirror. You're not going to break it, and you're not going to have 7 years of bad luck by looking in it.
Yeah. Yeah. It actually might help you.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
And it'd be amazing if shame could be a helpful tool in your life, not something that you just try to get rid of.
Mhm. And this isn't like some affirmations that are going to solve this, but this is about being kinder to yourself in other ways.
Yes.
The kindness comes in with like, I am choosing this hard path and I'm going to be gentle and compassionate with myself in a way that also holds me accountable, which is, I think,
Well,
part of the style that we hold.
it is. I've heard you say this before, and I hear this often. Like, there's nothing kind about being dishonest with yourself. Like, that's not kindness to be dishonest.
It is not.
And honesty isn't always, this is one of my favorite things to say in session. Like, I'm not a nookie blankie type therapist. If you're looking for a nookie and a blankie, you have come to the wrong room. Because I am kind. And what I mean by that is I am honest. Yeah. And honesty is the greatest form of kindness, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah. So what you're talking about in all of this, so this approach honors the trauma and the difficulty that people have lived through in their lives, but not running away from it or not like needing them to relitigate any of their past, but rather confronting how they're dealing with it in the moment. So much of our work is about present day experiential work on here in this moment. How can you look at the ways in which you got here, but how is it showing up today?
Yes. Yeah, we've got enough data to work with here in the here and now. We don't need to go back. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that what's happened to you is unimportant.
No, there's time for that work, but like that is not the focus of unmasking shame. The focus of unmasking shame is understanding how it's showing up in the present moment. Okay, so Hatch and Heidi, we came up with a really specific name and we named it after ourselves, which we both said we did not want to do.
Yes.
What was
important? For very
different
reasons.
I know. What was your reason for why not?
Well, there's this dynamic that I think there's like polar opposites. There's those of us in life that maybe have a tendency of making ourselves small, and those of us that have a tendency of making ourselves big, right? Both, I think, equally unhealthy in different ways and lend themselves to different levels of dysfunction and chaos. Like, this may be no shock to people. I've had a tendency of making myself very big in life. And so I'm really sensitive to what may look or appear or feel that way, right? Which is a way of managing how people see me, ironically.
Which is why you requested your name to be first in the name, right?
No, I did not.
It just sounds better.
But it's actually like, and I was actually really mindful of that. Like, I was like, what if we did our names? And I very intentionally put Heidi and Hatch first because I was like, I do not want it. But what's ironic is like, I think Hatch and Heidi sounds better than Heidi and Hatch.
It does.
Like, just objectively. It's just objectively, I was like, it has a better ring to it.
It does.
But in my mask managing, I was like, I can't appear as though I am this patriarchal douche. It's like, but I'm not that. I am not that. And so I do think a part of, for me, is just what's important about our names being on it is because like it no longer resembles what it used to for me. It is something different. And I get to own that. And that gets to be just true. And what other people think about that gets to be what they think about it. I know the reality of it. Yeah. Like it's an opportunity for me to just show up and not worry about, I'm not making myself big. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And it just feels really right. And I'm just going to trust that. Mm-hmm. And so like I can be seen and be in front of other people and not make myself big. And it's like an owning that and kind of reclaiming that for myself, which I think is different than what it is for you. I know it is different.
Mine is very different, but it also has some similar themes. I'm Heather Heidi. I am the girl with two first names. And most of my life, people called me Heidi, not because like it's cool to say my last name but they just like didn't know my first name. And so I have two really distinct stories that I think are at the time were not how I feel about them today. But I remember in middle school, this was the biggest problem. In middle school, I had the most issues with this. There was a librarian. I went to check out some books for something. And she's like, can I get your last name? And I said, Heidi. And she looks at me and she goes, "You teenagers just never listen." And I look at her again and I didn't say anything. And she said, "Can I get your last name?" And I was like, "My last name is Heidi." And I just remember like being so mad at her for thinking that like I wasn't listening, because little did she know that's all I did is listen. I listened and I listened and I listened. So I was so mad at her. And I think that I don't know the timing of this. It could be different, but I remember my dad told me the story that he went to my like conferences in middle school, and like conferences at that time are not the same as when you're in elementary. Like he just kind of like bopped around. And one of the teachers said, like, Heather never answers when I call on her. And my dad looked at him and said, "Well, do you call her the right name?" Because he said, "Heidi never answers when I call on her," is what he said. And my dad's like, "Well, do you ever call her the right name?" Because he knew that I was really mad at this teacher for never calling me the right name. And so I started just getting really like, I don't know, obstinate, if you will. And
Yeah.
he would call me Heidi and I just wouldn't answer. And there's no one in the classroom named Heidi. And I know who he was talking to, but I was like, not playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, these two silly stories from middle school, I have been very sensitive. Even to this day, I get people that will email me out that they know me, they've talked to me, they've called me Heather before, but they'll call me Heidi. I had such an issue with my name for the longest time, and I don't anymore. I love my name. I think my name is so cool. I think my name speaks to who I am, the authority that I have. And so when I saw it listed there as an option when we were in our Google, in our like little notes app, creating things and looking at it, and I was like, Hatch and Heidi, that's it. That's how I reclaim my name. That's how I reclaim me. This whole business is about reclaiming all of the work that I do with women and men and people is all about reclaiming who they are. And I would be a liar if I didn't, or a fraud. I don't know the right word, but like, I think adding my name into the business feels really important and feels like an important legacy to leave in my system and my family system as well.
I love it.
Reclaiming.
What's wild to me, to borrow your language, is I still can't, I don't know what it is in my brain that won't allow it to compute this way. Is like, I never even thought about your last name as a first name. And that's like
So
the most
funny to
honest
me.
to God truth. It's just so weird. Like, I don't know, like, because I remember it happened. It was like this year where, like, somebody that we both work with is training with you, and she kept referring to it as Heidi. And I'm like, why the fuck are you calling her last name? Like, what the hell? That's her last name.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Why are you doing that?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like, stop that. Like, why are
Uh-huh.
we doing this last name thing? We're not like in middle school or high school where like that, like, because I was called Hatch all the time. Like, that's what everybody called me.
Yes, it was normal. My brother got called Heidi all the time, and he also is Austin. So this is a fun part of our business journey. I was with my brother this
Yes.
weekend, and he said, "Can you call him a different name?" And I was like, "I think I could call him Hatch, but that feels weird."
It would be weird. I would be like, huh, this brings me back. Some people still call me that, but yeah, it just like, it was so funny to hear that to me. One, I didn't know all of those stories about you, but it, like, even when you told them the first time, I was like, why do you have such a big deal? What's the big deal with your name? Like, it's your last name. Like, it just like, and I didn't, and it wasn't like I was missing it. It's like, I've just known you as Heather.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, you're Heather,
Mhm.
and Heidi is a last name.
And it's more people's first name is the thing, but
And
it's
that's what,
spelled
like,
different and
still,
it's a little weird and like all of it, but it feels like another way to do this. And I think that these stories, it's like kind of weaving in of power dynamics and shrinking and reclaiming is such a meaningful part of what, yes, it's our names, but it's what our business stands for. It's what we stand for when it comes to working with people, is that we want to help you reclaim the parts of yourself that you have shrunk, that you have amplified in ways that are not helpful for your relationships, and really help you see these things in different ways, and not in a traditional therapy sense, but in a new way of gaining information and the experiences and workshops that we're creating to help people dig into that. I am so passionate about.
and it'll be fun. Like, it is actually fun.
Because I
It's
had a
hard.
really good, so when I didn't really get to this, but my favorite part of my job is like, I this doesn't happen as much anymore, but when I was working in other places, everyone always would say, like, what are you doing in there? I can hear you laughing. And I'm like, well, therapy's a lot of fun if you if you can dig into the muck with people, then you have the opposite spectrum as well that we can have that much fun too.
Oh yeah. It is fun.
I love my
And
job.
it's wild to say like it's fun and I'm talking about all these things that I'm doing that are causing harm. It's like, am I allowed to? It's like, yes, you're allowed. Like honesty can be really freeing actually and
Yeah.
afford you the capacity to look at yourself in an honest way. And that actually, you might actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
I-
you're okay with what you're doing.
yeah.
Doesn't mean you're signing off on it, but it's like it's enjoyable.
Mhm. And I would say, like, so the other part that makes me want to do and push all of this forward and do all this work in this new way and lead with all of this is really about kind of following with how all of this has changed, what it means to do this work with integrity. If anyone has ever sat with me for more than an hour, you will hear me say integrity so many times because it's one of my favorite words. But I named my first business Uplifted, and like the tagline is like healing with integrity, because healing with integrity is really like the whole goal is to get people to show up with more integrity and more consistency and congruence. And I see too many people trying to do all of this work in a way that is easy. So if we go back to that easy path or the hard path gets results. The easy path becomes that, like what you call like the blanket nookie, whatever. I call it like the feather pillow treatment. Like I love a good comfy bed, but I don't do my all like I sleep and do my healing work, but I'm not like actively doing healing work. So I'm not going to take my pillow with me. I need to sit and do the hard work. And I think so often I hear clients tell me they have never had a therapist get them as quickly. And I think that I can help do this work on a larger scale with people. And I'm so excited to do that with you because I watch clients have that same response to you of like, oh, you get this and you get this really quickly. I can't have as much impact just seeing one client at a time. I want to help the impact grow in a bigger way.
I'm glad you said that because I think for me, a part of that kind of larger scale is not just I want to reach more people and I want to be bigger. It's like I think healing in community can be like, oh, like that's what gives me
Uh,
probably the most
yes,
joy and chills is like, what if we didn't just heal one on one? What if we healed in community with other people? Like, what if
uh,
we got to experience this alongside of others
yes,
and give and receive that which we are trying to manufacture in our life in really real and authentic ways? Oh, sign me
yeah.
up.
I mean, you know, my vision is to have this big building that all of our like people and workshop participants and everybody is like kind of milling about connecting in this space and feeling like they're connected, whether it's like it doesn't matter who, it doesn't have to be a client, it just is people being together, whether they're students or past, I don't even know. I'm coming up with these titles of who these people be. It just is people coming together to be like, "Ah, this work is cool and important."
Yeah, because they get to come to a place where they're seen actually.
What
And
I
then
guess
maybe just they get to see others too, experience both being seen and seeing.
I continue to write down a list of all these topics that we can dig into because it is endless. There's so many things to go down and so many places to explore, which just feels so exciting and yeah, limitless.
And that's where we get to go next. We get to start to introduce some of the depth of this topic of unmasking shame and all the things that it can touch. And so that's the journey. That's the hard path.
Okay. One thing that I say at the end of a lot of things is, what are you going to take away from this experience today? What are you going to take away from this?
Mm. when you were where we started of just being asked the simple questions of like, you know, what do you love about this? What do you like about what you do? I can honestly say, like, I haven't consciously chosen to bring myself to that in a what feels like too long of a time. Like, that was really nice to just be able to talk about what I love and to remind myself, almost to like celebrate what it is that I enjoy.
Yeah.
That was really nice. I'm gonna cling to that a little bit. What about you?
I would say my takeaway, honestly, is how much growth has happened, and also this idea about trying to make something fit in a box is the opposite of what we're trying to do. And I have found myself trying to figure out how this all fits in a box, and it doesn't. And that's okay. Love it too.